Beautiful friend, this video is going to be an update on the Virgo solar eclipse that is happening. It's peaking September 21st, but it is already so palpably in play. It's a doozy of an eclipse because this one is so intense and it's happening at the 29th degree of Virgo, the very end of Virgo energy, emphasizing an ending. And it's opposing Saturn, which can feel quite sobering and serious. Because of this, I thought it might be really helpful to get some tips on how we can navigate these energies and why does this one feel particularly challenging. I also want to talk with you about the Libra Equinox, which is a fresh new energy, is going to help us rebalance, reset, and it represents its own portal, its own opening, air energy ruled by Venus, us coming through into a new, hopeful sense of beginnings, happening just 22 hours after the Virgo solar eclipse. So they're operating together, they're amplifying each other, and this is what I want to share with you in this video. In part one, I will talk about how we can best navigate these energies, who will most feel both the eclipse and the equinox portal. And most important, how are these energies supporting us to release the past and begin that fresh new chapter or phase of life? And then in part two, I will do readings for all 12 signs, letting you know where the eclipse and the equinox are happening in your chart, as well as pulling an oracle card for each of the signs as well. Now, if you are brand new to the channel, I want to say hello and welcome. I am so glad that you are here. This is a like-minded community. It is always my intention to inspire and empower you through Western tropical astrology. If you consider yourself to be highly sensitive, on a spiritual path, on a soul's ascension journey, you are in the right place. Take a moment right now to tap the subscribe button, to hit the notification bell so that we can stay connected and you don't miss a video. Welcome back to my subscribers. I am so happy that we're on this journey together. And if I'm new to you, I'm Betsy Gutting. I'm a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I do astrology consultations and coaching sessions. Stay tuned till the end of the video when I will tell you a little bit more about my offerings, and I have a free gift for you. I also write about the astrology between videos in my weekly inspirational astrology updates. If you'd like to get those to your inbox, go to my website and sign up for free, and you will also get my free instant download gift at the same time. Big picture, solar eclipses are amplified new moons. But because this one is happening at 29 degrees, a critical degree, and it's connected to karmic endings and a new beginning, it is that much more intense. Solar eclipses course correct us. They are turning points. They are tipping points. They move us into a new chapter or a new book even. And because this is a south node eclipse, it is emphasizing releasing something that we have completed or come full circle with. And in the earth sign of Virgo, the themes of purifying, cleansing, releasing, preparing, and planning for a new beginning. But first, we have to clean out the garage. Metaphorically speaking, first we have to go into the space that is filled with stuff that may even remind us of our past, or filled with regrets or memories of people or situations that we are completely done with, or ways of thinking or patterns or dynamics that are clearly not good for us anymore. We have to clear all of that so that we can transform this room, this garage, whatever it is, into the new space, the playroom, the beautiful new office, whatever it is. There's something in each and every one of our lives that we are clearing so that we can create space for this fresh start, new beginning. Now, at the same time, some of you could be on the fence about something. You could be trying to make a decision. How do I start this new life? What do I leave behind? It could be something where if you knew it was going to go well, you would absolutely do it. You would say yes to it. But because we can't foretell the future, you might be feeling afraid of saying yes, that it might not actually work out, that it might not be an improvement. In Virgo energy, we want to improve a situation. In this new beginnings eclipse, we want to upgrade our life in some way. And it's physical, earth energy Virgo, also connected to health, our daily work, our routines, our schedules, our lifestyle. It's very nitty-gritty daily something for most of us. And so my motto for this eclipse is just get it done so you can move forward with your life. For many of us, this eclipse could have to do with work because it's opposing Saturn. I'll talk about that in a moment. Or the way that we work, or the things that we do, the patterns that we have that are connected to our health and wellness. How we feel in our physical body, our habits, and are they healthy for us? And it comes down to what needs to be done on a very practical level. Virgo is a feminine earth sign. Virgo is the quintessential person that walks in the door, looks at the garage being reorganized, and says, how can I help? What do you want me to do? Do you have garbage bags? Let's divide this stuff into piles. What goes, what stays, what's a maybe? Very practical, very helpful. So what would be supportive for you to do right now if you are in a transitional phase like I'm talking about, or if something important is coming up for you right now that you know you have to take care of, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to take care of. What's helpful is to have the conversations. This Virgo is Mercury ruled. Mercury rules communication. Have the conversations, collect the information that you need, do the research, talk to the advisors or the experts, become informed, and in the process, take care of your sweet, tender self that may feel scared right now about the outcome of any decision that you're making. And it may not feel like a decision. It may feel like, I just know I have to do this now, and that doesn't mean that it feels good. One of the things that we tend to forget in Virgo energy, especially with an eclipse, and this is very important for this eclipse, is that across from Virgo is Pisces on the zodiac wheel, and Pisces rules the subconscious mind. It rules our inner narrative. It's connected to negativity sometimes, the negative ways that we can think, the catastrophic thinking, fear. Also, past life experiences, whether we're aware of them or not, past life experiences that we had that are very karmic or karmic relationships that are likely to come up right now, come bubble up in our memories, or just we feel them subconsciously. And the way you might feel them, my friend, is I'm afraid to do this new thing because I'm afraid it won't go well. I'm afraid that it will fail, or I'm afraid that it will turn into a loss, or that I'll wish that I hadn't said yes to it, that I hadn't done it. And so for us to take a hold of that beautiful new beginning that this eclipse also wants to give us, we're also being made aware of our fears and our thinking about what we might be afraid of so that we can reframe that, put that in a new light, see any past situations or potential new beginnings with new eyes, with a positive mindset. But this isn't going to be easy because Saturn is opposite the sun and the moon. Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn energy can feel quite heavy. It does bring in karmic situations. It can feel serious. It can feel sobering. It's tied to responsibilities, commitments, a sense of perhaps a commitment to another person or what you know you have to do, even if it's something you don't want to do for yourself. And this is very important for those of you who felt this eclipse several days before it actually happened, the week before. That would have been very natural because Mercury in Virgo was opposing Saturn in Pisces for several days. And that could have felt quite crazy making for your mind. You could have felt stuck. You could have felt like you were hemmed in, and you could have felt like your boundaries were being violated. Things that were happening outside of you could have been very stressful, and they could have felt just wrong that this person is doing that, just wrong that they're not doing this. You could have felt like there was a lot of weight on your shoulders to make something happen, and yet there was really nothing that you could do to make it better. So fortunately, before this eclipse, Mercury has left Virgo and is now in Libra. That's an air energy. It's a lighter energy. And most importantly, Mercury is not opposing Saturn anymore, at least in the same sign. But some of you could be reconciling right now, adjusting to new information that you got, Mercury, new information that you got before the eclipse, during the eclipse, or this could happen after the eclipse, that is sobering to you in some way, that feels heavy, that is not something you would have ordered off the menu. And for perspective, I want to let you know that we've had eclipses on this Pisces Virgo axis since September of 2024. The first one was a lunar eclipse in Pisces at 25 degrees, which is just a few degrees away from this Virgo 29-degree point. the solar eclipse we're having now. And then in March 2025, we had a lunar eclipse in Virgo at 24 degrees also. So that is 3 eclipses on the Pisces Virgo axis, including this present one, all within 24 to 29 degrees. And I'm bringing this up for you because something could have begun for you last September 2024. It could have come up again or continued to come up from September to March of 2025. And then now in September of 2025, it could be coming to a head with this eclipse. So it could be helpful for you to look back and ask yourself what was happening for me last fall, what was happening during the spring, and now it could be coming up to be resolved. You could finally feel like I'm ready to take action, especially if it's something quite serious. I really want to acknowledge that. Sometimes it takes our human selves a little while to say, okay, I'm ready to actually face this, whether it's a health diagnosis, a relationship issue, something going on at work. Sometimes it takes our human selves a while to gather the strength and the energy and the confidence to face something hard. Or you could be grieving something. There could be something in your life. I talk about this at length in my Saturn retrograde in Pisces video. I'll try to remember to put a little banner above me so you can go watch that if you haven't already. I know a lot of people have gotten some solace from that video, but some of you could be grieving something. You could be in a grieving process. You could be letting go of something that is quite big in your life. We want to keep in mind that right now we are going through a huge transitionary process. We are leaving the era of Neptune in Pisces. Neptune entered Pisces in 2011. It will retrograde back into Pisces in October of 2025 and finally go back into Aries to stay in 2026. But Saturn, having recently retrograded back into Pisces, activated a looking back, for some of us a grief process, for some of us a realization that something is leaving our lives or has left our lives, which could have you releasing, purging emotionally in tears and not even knowing why you're in tears. It could actually bring some relief. But we want to keep in mind that this is the end of the cycle. It's a 164-year cycle, Neptune. Neptune will not come back to Pisces for 164 years. And unless the new technology lengthens our lifetimes in gargantuan ways, we're not going to experience, those of us who are alive right now, Neptune and Pisces again. So this is it. The wave is going out. It's not coming back in again, this particular wave. The karma, the wave is taking the old karma with it. So I hope that that soothes some of your minds to know that this is not going to be forever. We're releasing it. We're letting the ending happen. We're allowing whatever has run its course to finish that cycle and clear the slate so we can start the next life phase. I also want to say that you could feel quite tired, emotionally drained, confused, overwhelmed emotionally during this solar eclipse time. You could be in a deep healing process now, emotionally, physically, mentally, or even spiritually. And so this eclipse, Virgo energy, it's connected to the physical body. It is encouraging us to feel into our body's wisdom, to take the deep breaths, the meditation breaks, to tune into our hearts, to lean into the emotions that are uncomfortable. Not escape from them, but go into them because, as we say, the only way out is through, and to tap into our higher self, God, spirit, whatever you call it, your soul's wisdom. Our human selves are so wired, often from our conditioning, to suppress our emotions, to ignore them, to escape from them, to find distractions so we don't have to feel them. But I like to remind myself that all quote unquote negative emotions come from fear, and all uplifting emotions come from love. So all emotions really come from either love or fear. And I like to see fear as darkness that is ready to be transmuted into love. So the beauty of this eclipse, and you may have felt this already, is that it may reveal, illuminate for you a subconscious pattern, a way of thinking that isn't current for you anymore. It came from your conditioning, or it came from a difficult past life experience, but it's not current for you. You've evolved past it, and yet it still could be floating around in your unconscious mind. The limiting belief, anything holding you back, could be illuminated during this eclipse so that you can see it and connect to the root of where it's coming from and then let it go, let it wash away. Since Saturn also rules boundaries, this eclipse may show you where you have been overworking, overfunctioning, doing too much for other people that they could be doing for themselves. Saturn rules our commitments, it rules our obligations and what we see ourselves as accountable for. And part of the ending that's coming from this eclipse is showing us what maybe we feel we have to do out of duty or obligation, but we actually don't. That duty has actually expired with the soul contract completing. This eclipse is supporting us to be accountable to our own well-being and to be willing to set boundaries and say, I just can't do that if we just can't do that. For some of us, our boundaries may have been too rigid. Maybe we put walls up where we could have softened and relaxed certain boundaries so that we could receive more, we could let more support and help in. And if that's the case, then that would be part of how this eclipse is supporting you as well. Because remember, Saturn is also the wise teacher, the mentor, the advisor. It matures us. And Saturn is connected to our foundation, to our structure, to a new platform of support. So you could feel right now that you're restructuring your life, that you're letting go of an old support system and you want to bring in a new support system. So one of my tips for you is to give yourself the rest that you need. See this as a time to restore your energy if you need that. Only do what is absolutely necessary. And to know that we are meant during this eclipse to let go of things like self-sabotage, of not feeling good enough, the self-doubt. We're meant to say that was the past. That isn't the person that I've evolved into. Whereas before, I may have undercut my needs. I may not have asked for enough, or maybe I've been too hard on myself. Maybe I haven't done the things that I needed to do to really ensure that I have a solid base of support underneath me. But that's what we're meant to release during this South Node in Virgo eclipse. What we're supported to do is forgive ourselves and forgive others. The words radical self-acceptance, accepting what you can't control. And I know this isn't easy, leaning into the feelings of where we don't have the power to change something. But this is also where we can lean on the divine for support, because it's a past pattern for a lot of us to feel alone. I can't get my needs met, or I'm only asking for the crumbs of the bare minimum. That's a lot of people in the spiritual world, especially this Virgo Pisces energy. The servers, the people who want to serve, the people that want to contribute. And sometimes that service has become, for some of us, more like servitude. So that's what we're shifting. But the superpower of this eclipse is that we can tap into faith. I think it really does want us to tap into faith on a deeper level than we have before. That's what I'm feeling personally. I've been saying to my guides, okay, I need to feel you on a deeper level. I want to feel your arms wrapped around me right now. You can also ask the divine to merge with your energy. And there's a remembering that we can do as well, a remembering whatever is going on in your very physical life, because that's Virgo energy, whatever is going on, as important to your well-being as it is, and we can't minimize that, your physical, earthly, your beautiful vessel of a body, as important as that is, because it is how we function in life, to remember that we are still spiritual beings first and foremost. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And a huge part of the spiritual journey that we're having, I believe, a big reason for us coming onto this earthly plane to have this journey is so that we could awaken to who we really are, awaken to the fact that we are spiritual beings. Many people will never awaken to that, and that's okay. That's not part of their earthly journey. But if you're watching this video, it's probably part of yours, certainly part of mine. And when we awaken to that, then we realize I'm not alone. Here I am worried and fearful that I'm not going to get my needs met. That's antithetical to the truth of who we are as divine beings. That's not possible in the divine realms. And yes, we do have to align that truth of our divinity with our physical being to get our needs met. But I think that this eclipse is an invitation. If there's something difficult happening for you right now, my friend, it's an invitation to remember, and I know this is not easy to remember to say to yourself, your sweet self, I'm so sorry you are going through this right now. This is really hard. Nobody should have to experience something like this. But we're going to get through this. You know, talking to that inner child inside of you. I have your back. I'm holding you. You're not alone. I'm never ever going to leave you. Let's align with the realm of unconditional love, the truth of who we are. Let's move into the atmosphere of higher love where we are whole, we are radiantly healthy, we are feeling fully alive, the space where miracles can happen, miracle consciousness. That can be the gold of this eclipse for you, my friend. Aligning yourself with miracle consciousness. As you move first, many of us will first move through the fear, first move through the grief, move through that tunnel into the light of miracle consciousness. Okay, so I'm going to tell you who will most feel this eclipse, and then we're going to talk about the Libra equinox. And I did do a separate video for you on the solar eclipse in Virgo, so I will link to that as well. And I go much more into all of the different planetary aspects that are going on. I do a deeper dive if you want more good stuff on this eclipse. So who will most feel this eclipse? As I said, it's happening at 29 degrees of Virgo. Those of you who have planets or points between 25 and 29 degrees of Virgo or the other mutable signs of Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you will feel this eclipse. Most likely you'll feel it intensely. Also, though, and this is important because a lot of people don't pay attention to this, if you have planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees of the cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra, you will also likely feel this eclipse more intensely, especially wherever that planet or point that is 0 to 2 degrees of a cardinal sign in your chart. You may feel it in that specific area of your life. And this is something that, of course, I can illuminate for you in an astrology consultation. It is very empowering for us to remember that we are always at choice. Even if we didn't choose the circumstances that are right in front of us now, we are always at choice as to how we are going to move through these circumstances. And think of all of the things, the hard things that you've been through in your entire lifetime up to this point. You got through all those things. You got through all those things, and whatever you're going through now, you're going to get through that as well. As we go through that last bit of tunnel into the light of this brand new era, which is going to begin officially when Saturn and Neptune come back into Aries at 0 degrees in February of 2026. And I'm not saying February 2026, we're going to walk into a utopia. No, I'm not. We're still going to be beginning a transitional time. Change is the essence of the planet. Always, but especially between 2025, 2027, it is change on a massive level. But we are wired for this. We are ready for this. As spiritual beings, we wanted to come and be here for this most important time. And because change is the essence of our being, together we can flow through this into the next higher vibration phase of life. And speaking of higher vibration, that helps me segue into the Libra equinox. The Libra equinox is happening on September 22nd, just 22 hours after the solar eclipse. And most of us think of the equinox time as equal day, equal night. And that is, of course, true. However, this particular equinox, and of course it's the beginning of fall for those of us in the northern hemisphere and the beginning of spring for those of you in the southern hemisphere, lucky you. I know a lot of you love the fall as well. But this particular equinox takes on another meaning, and that is because of what is going on with the other planets at the same time, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment. The themes of Libra energy are balance, harmony, fairness, justice. That includes karmic justice for those of you who are ready to be made whole again from some of the losses and experiences that you have had in this past era. Equal give and take, mutually loving, reciprocal relationships. Libra is connected to the 7th house of committed partnerships, and that's not just romantic partners. That's all relationships in which we want to feel that mutuality, which for me, I don't know about you, but for me, that's all my relationships. When the sun enters Libra, it enters, of course, at the 1st degree, which is 0 degrees. 0 degrees of a cardinal sign. Libra is a cardinal sign. That means it's an initiating sign. The cardinal signs begin a new season. 0 degrees is what we call the world axis point. Some of you may remember I've talked about this in other videos as well. It's particularly poignant right now because Saturn and Neptune have already come together in Aries at this 0-degree point, and that heightens the power of any planetary activation that happens at 0 degrees. But of course, this is even bigger because it's an equinox, and an equinox is a portal. It is an entry into a new consciousness. You could think of it as a wormhole. I like that word wormhole. You could think of it as, because it gives that connotation of new energy coming through, getting in, moving into this tiny space. It doesn't matter how big the space is, because it's consciousness. It's there. You can't contain consciousness in space. And so a portal is an entry into a higher consciousness, a new consciousness, a higher vibration, a higher frequency of energy. The world axis point 0 degrees of any of the cardinal signs is connected to leadership and world leaders. We've already seen big changes in world leaders in France, for example, and other countries. But also, I like to take this down to a personal level for you, my friend. Also, you may feel like you're being called into a leadership role or into a sense of I'm leveling up in how I use my energy, how, maybe you have a desire to express, to contribute. Maybe you're feeling more like, what is my purpose? I want to express my purpose more. That's leadership too. So wherever this point in your natal chart is of 0 degrees of Libra, which I'll talk about in the 12 sign readings, you could feel like you're feeling called to up level, step up, rise up, express more of your true nature, the part of you that wants to help others align with their purpose. That's just one example. There are a lot of ways that we can be leaders, right? And sometimes that's as simple as us being true to who we are and exuding that energy. That's leadership too. But what makes this equinox portal in 2025 that much more significant is that, and I've talked about this in past videos, right now we have what's called a minor grand trine, or a magic triangle of planets at the very early degrees that are all harmonizing with one another. That is Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and Neptune in Aries. They all harmonize with one another. There is light, high frequency light, that is moving through this triangle. Well, the sun in Libra on the equinox makes a trine to Uranus and Gemini. It makes a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. It makes a sextile to Neptune in Aries. So you can feel that energy, the amplifier. I'm just seeing this like it, and it's very flowing. It's harmonious. And the harmony of that, I feel, is stabilizing. It doesn't mean that we can't have shocks with Uranus energy. You can still have situations, events, ideas, epiphanies, especially those that can feel like quantum leaps, that can take you into another consciousness, that can be scary to your human self. That's the thing. The human self doesn't want change, no matter how exciting it is, no matter how eye-opening, no matter how much we're seeing something through new exciting eyes. The human self is still going to be, depending on who you are, possibly a little bit afraid of that, or dragging the heels, or saying, I don't know if I feel brave enough for that. But keep in mind that during this solar eclipse, Uranus retrograde, just before and during the eclipse, is being squared by Venus in Virgo, and that Uranus square could have you feel like there's a real sense of urgency. Saturn could be putting on the brakes for you, and Uranus could have its pedal to the metal, so to speak. And that's hard, navigating those two things. And now I hear a siren in the background as I'm saying that. Interesting, right? Urgency, emergency, that can be Uranus energy. So just know that you could feel like I have to hurry up and make a plan. I have to hurry up and decide this. Most likely you don't. We know when something is like urgent, right? But if you don't feel, if there isn't that, as we say, tiger right outside your door, or as my daughter experienced once when she lived in Vail, Colorado, once they came out into the kitchen and there was a bear literally like plastered on their window, fortunately outside of their house, but still. Uranus can amplify the energy and very well may do that during the eclipse. However, we also have this beautiful support from this magic triangle. And what it's really helping us with is shifting our perceptions, giving us a workaround, giving us another way to go about something. So what does this mean? The universe is saying, don't look to the things that are not open doors for you right now. Use your creative thinking, look to new possibilities, stay open, because if one situation feels like a no or a delay, it is for our highest good. And we can always ask Spirit, beautiful dear Spirit, show me the workaround. Show me who or what is meant to fill this need or this desire. Stay focused on your vision, stay connected to your intention. Remember that you are co-creating with the entire field of possibility, Uranus, and surrender the rest to the divine. Okay, my beautiful friend, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of your life corresponding to the area of your natal chart in which you'll be experiencing both the solar eclipse in Virgo and the Libra equinox. And listen for your sun and moon signs as well, because you may also get connected to themes and intuitive messages from the oracle cards that are very likely to be applicable as well. Let us start with Virgo, because beautiful Virgo, this is your eclipse, and I've already done one video for you on this. So we're going to touch on the eclipse in these readings, and then I'm going to talk about the Libra equinox for you as well. The eclipse for you, which you may have already felt, a lot of us felt it the week before the actual eclipse, is happening in your first house of you. And this is saying, the identity that you have right now, and we all have multiple identities, your identity, I am, whatever you use to fill in the blank of that sentence, I am, in your personal life, your relationships, and then in work life, if you work or however you do your days. This is our roles and our titles, and you are very likely to experience a shift in at least one title, one role during this eclipse, especially if you have planets or points toward the end degrees of your sign or the early degrees of the cardinal signs. I speak more about this in part 1 of this video. So what does this mean? We're cleansing, we're releasing, we're letting go of something. This could have to do with your sense of vitality. This could have to do with a health issue that you've been dealing with that is now maybe coming to completion, resolving. You could be, just getting some sort of actual diagnosis right now, or you could be in a healing process. You could be coming to the end of that healing, which would be really lovely. Now, it's not going to be healing for all of you, even though your sign is very much connected to healing. With Saturn opposing this eclipse, it could also have to do with your work life, leaving a toxic work situation or a relationship that has not been it's not been healthy for you. And also your status could change, status in relationships, status at work. Also your appearance could shift in some way. You may decide that you want to change your appearance. I mean, after all, this is the very last degree, 29 degrees of Virgo. And for those of you who have birthdays later, 28, 29 degrees of Virgo, 27 degrees of Virgo, if you haven't gotten to receive my happy birthday yet, happy birthday to those of you late degree Virgos. Now, after this eclipse, which again, we're letting something go, we're releasing an old phase, we're stepping into a new one. And don't be surprised if this does have to do with a relationship, because after all, we've got, Pisces energy in your 7th house of partnerships. So it could have to do with a relationship ending or a new one beginning and so forth. And because it's a conjunction to your first house of who you are, Virgo, it may feel quite intense. After this, the next day, less than 24 hours later, the sun will enter Libra, and this will be the Libra equinox, which begins a whole new season. And this is happening in your 2nd house. So this is symbolically, and you may feel this palpably as well in your life, symbolically, it is a fresh new beginning and opening into higher consciousness in your house of material security. The amount of money you make, how you make your money, what you would call your own earned income, money earned from your labor, so to speak. Also, self-love, self-worth, and deserving, and the extent to which you feel materially secure in your life. So this is where we have an opportunity to set a new intention. It's where you might decide that you want to change up how you make your money. You may want to add some sort of, side hustle, as we say these days, or, let something go, or Um, work on your self-love. Uh, some of you may be releasing a limiting belief around what you deserve. But the good news is that the sun in Libra is going to make harmonious aspects to so many different points and planets during this eclipse that it really is a time that we can up level this area of our life. And who doesn't want to up level their money house? So, and you know, it's not just money, it's possessions, it's the things. Some of you could downsize. Some of you could say, I don't need this much money. Some of you could say, I'm going to retire, and I'm going to retire on less than I thought I needed. Or, you know, I'm going to shift how I make my money. I want more freedom. You could want more freedom. This could bring in relationships with others, partnerships, and so on, because it is Libra energy. So let's pull a card for you now, beautiful Virgo, and see what the cards have to say for you. Virgo, you get peace. What a beautiful card. Peace. It says, embrace any confusion. Let there be peace in not knowing all the answers. And you could feel like you don't have all the answers during an eclipse like this. There has been a lot of confusion. Mercury has been opposing Saturn. Fortunately, that opposition is finished at the time of this eclipse because Mercury has moved into Libra. That's definitely going to help. And Mercury will trine Uranus, so that can bring wonderful clarity. But if you have been confused, beautiful Virgo, as you can see, she's tapping into the higher realms. She's moving her consciousness up into the heavenly space where she can receive guidance. Let there be peace in not knowing all the answers. If you resonate with this or anything else I shared and you want to leave a comment, I love hearing from you. Leo, hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are experiencing the solar eclipse in your second house of earned income, your second house of material security, possessions. These are all the things that we create in our lives to feel more secure. Also, our values, our self-worth, what we feel we deserve or don't deserve. That is the emphasis on this eclipse. And because this eclipse is an ending and a new beginning, you could find or have found already that there is something having to do with your material security, whatever you would put on. If someone said, what makes you feel materially secure, Leo, and you write down a few things, something could have changed. We do say eclipses can eclipse something out of our lives, but they can also bring that new vision. They create space, right? What's eclipsed out is what's no longer in alignment with us. Doesn't mean it's easy. Like some of you could lose an income during this eclipse. I hope that's not true for you. But if that is, it's always something we look back on and say, I didn't really want to do that job anymore anyway, or I really didn't vibe with that workplace, or, you know, my boss and I were not a good match. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe you're ready to have your own business. Maybe you don't even want to be employed anymore. Some of you are realizing that a belief that you had about yourself or your earning power or about money is ready to shift. So that's really good energy. And then, that's good news too, and good energy. And then, Leo, the Libra Equinox, that's the fresh new beginning portal. And the solar eclipse is a new beginning too. It's an ending and a new beginning both. But when the sun moves into Libra 22 hours after this eclipse, it's going to move into your house of mindset, communication, where we make new connections, or we make connections with people that we care about. It's your local hood. It is the house of moving and shaking, where we do our transactions, buying and selling, signing leases, also freelance work. If you have a website, if you write, if you teach, if you journal even, relationships with siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins, devices, and our vehicles too, and synchronicities and signs that we get. This is all third house stuff. So that's the new begin. That's where the new beginning wants to happen. And for those of you who want to be in a new place, have your office in a new location, or have your home in a new location, or work out or do the things that you love to do in new places, the Libra Equinox it's a great time to set an intention for how you want to experience life on a local level, how you want to change your thinking, how you want to up level your inner narrative. And if you want to start a new spiritual practice, I would highly encourage a practice doing automatic writing or doing, in my book, I call it writing to spirit. I teach you how to do that in my book. Anything that gets you opening up your mind to new possibilities, letting the wonder of possibility into your mind, and increasing your connection to the divine as well. So let me pull a card for you, Leo, and we'll see what the cards have to say for you. And I would love to hear, how is this eclipse going for you guys? Because I'm telling you, so many people really felt the energy strongly during the several days before, when Mercury and Saturn were opposing. Okay, Leo. I love this for you. Creativity, yes. And look at all the heart chakra green energy, which is you, Leo. I love it so much. It says, express your creativity, delight in the mystery of your inner muse. And here is the divine sparking her, making a connection with her finger, and we can channel energy through our hands, right? I love this so much. What would bring you more alive, as Howard Thurman says? Don't ask what the world needs, ask what brings you alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. So if you relate to any of what I have shared with you in this reading, your inner muse, you know, in my book, I talk about how can you partner with the divine, partner with your inner muse. And this is saying, delight in that mystery. Beautiful, Leo. Leave me a comment if you'd like to. I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer. I have my moon and rising in Cancer. The solar eclipse in Virgo is happening for you in your 3rd house. I do have a separate video for you on the solar eclipse, so you're getting 2 solar eclipse readings. This is where we have an ending and new beginning happening at this 29-degree aneretic critical degree point. And so you could feel like something big is leaving your life, or something big is being resolved. And when I say big, I mean emotionally. And we Cancers, we know what feeling emotions on a intense level mean, right? We know this. So something, if you have any planets or points at the late degrees of the mutable signs or the early degrees of the cardinal signs, you could feel this quite intensely. Where the eclipse is actually happening for you, Cancer, is in your house of mindset, communication, and you know what we call the inner narrative, the story that we tell about ourselves. There's a lot of stuff floating around in that mind. A lot of it's tied to past lives. A lot of it's tied to loss that we've had, maybe not in this lifetime, but in past lifetimes, and we're not always aware of what that is until something new comes along, and we have all these fears that come up and percolate, and we're like, where is this coming from? And then we know that it's coming up to be released, right? So that, I think, is a big part of this eclipse, is really being aware of where maybe you're changing a belief about what's possible for you. Maybe you're changing a belief about whether you could have your own business or not and be successful. Maybe you're changing a belief about money. This could come from a past life in which you were a spiritual healer or helper in some way. And a lot of us were persecuted for that in past lifetimes. So something up around that could come up for you. But know that you are being supported to create a new beginning here as well, which is a new mindset, possibly a new neighborhood, a new place of work for you, new surroundings, new things that you want to do. And this could have to do with freelancing, your own business, website work, teaching, learning, a relationship with a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, synchronicities and signs, being more attuned to them, being more tuned to the, ethereal beings who give us those messages. And something could come up around a device or a vehicle as well. The Libra Equinox, which is a portal of new energy taking us into through that wormhole into a brand new season, but also a new awareness. That is happening in your 4th house of home and family. And it's being very supported, this equinox, by the magic triangle of planets that I talk about in part 1 of this video. What does this mean? It means you're being invited you're being invited to open up to a new way of thinking about your home, or this could be the home and your family members. This could be your family of origin. This could be the family that you've created. Something is opening up here. There's an energy that's opening up. It could be that you're deepening a relationship with a family member. It could be that you're feeling more of a sense of rootedness or belonging. You could be doing some ancestral healing work. You could want a new home, but not know how that's going to come about. And that's where Uranus and Pluto and Neptune are all supporting you to think of how you could do it in a different way. And you don't have to think, the words think of, I don't mean like that you are the one who has to come up with it, your human self. It's more likely to come from your higher self, doing research in different things, right? Like I'm often guided to, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to, call this person. And that's the divine that's often working through us. So you could feel that too. That's the new beginning. And we're very, very supported by these outer planets as we move into this new era. So that's also quite exciting. So Cancer, leave me a comment if you would. Let me know what if any of this is resonating, and let's see what the cards have to say for you, Cancer. Cancer. Cancer, you're being asked to take a risk. And look at this she's like this beautiful dancer, right? Dancer angel. Take a risk. You have the power within to move mountains. If there's something that you're contemplating that feels scary to you, if there's something that you feel like, I don't know what the outcome is going to be of this. I mentioned this at the very opening of this video. I think a lot of people are on the fence about a decision, thinking, well, if it went well, I would do it, right? But if it's not going to go well, it feels really scary. That could be happening for you. And I think that this card is saying, you are supported to take a risk. And how can you change your mindset to align with that truth? How can you change your mindset and open up to, what if it does go well? What if you are successful? What if the divine is ready to help you move through this? And now someone just is revving their motorcycle engine behind me. So, it's time to start your motor. Beautiful Cancer. If you resonate with this card or anything I shared in your reading, let me know. I would love to hear. And Cancer, I just closed the window to block out that motor sound. And as I was doing so, I looked out the window and it's a little kid with a helmet on riding around in their like go-kart looking vehicle. So that may be a sign for you as well, to delight your inner child by going out and doing something really fun that you wouldn't normally do. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini. You are going to experience the solar eclipse in Virgo in your 4th house of home, family, or I should say you are experiencing it because this video is going live the day of the eclipse. And by the way, I have already done a separate video for you on this eclipse, but I wanted to do an update because of its intensity. Talk about all of that in part 1 of this video. You may very well feel it in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning, inner child healing, where you want to feel rooted, where you want to feel like there are people who have my back. I belong. I am not alone. I am not having to deal with something or face something all by myself. Are you feeling anything like that? Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. You could feel like, see, here's the thing. Most of us are aware of this, but I'm reminding you, so many of us have had experiences, often with family, where we didn't see eye to eye with a family member, where maybe we walked away from family members because we were no longer enough aligned. Maybe we left a toxic family situation. Or, we've just been through heartache and heartbreak, some of us with family members or others. And you could be, because this eclipse is an ending and a new beginning, you could be dealing with a situation or something coming up for you that is triggering your vulnerability around family, or it could be around family support. So if that's happening, you are meant to move through any fears and embrace your divine connection. Receive the unconditional love from the divine so that you truly move into the energy of you are not alone. You do not have to face this alone. You know, when I sometimes don't feel support, sometimes family members can't give their support in certain situations. If I'm having a moment where I'm not feeling supported, I will say, okay, if not this person, who can help me? Who can support me, Spirit? Show me where my support, where I'm meant to draw support from. Some of you could be experiencing that. Some of you could be dealing with anything around home and family. You might want a new home. Let me know if you want a new home. Some of you want to change your home. You want to remodel. You're moving. All of that could be true for you as well, Gemini. Now, remember the eclipse is an ending and a new beginning. So we're letting something go that isn't appropriate for us anymore, isn't a match for our energy, and we're moving into something new. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and that doesn't mean we won't have fear, but we are meant to move through the fear into the new higher vibration of where we want to be. Now, the Libra equinox is going to happen in your 5th house. And I love this new beginning in your 5th house because I love the 5th house. And the 5th house is children, romance, creativity, parenting. It's your inner muse, inner child delight. The 5th house is getting the paints out and, you know, just expressing, whether it's painting or dancing or writing, whatever you love to do to express. That is the 5th house. The Libra equinox is a portal along with the solar eclipse, but this is a portal into your creativity, saying yes to your creativity. And it's Libra energy, which is partnership energy too. So you're partnering with the divine, many of you who choose to intentionally, but also maybe you're partnering with a new person. Maybe there's a new friend. Maybe there's a new lover. You know, we'll find out, right? Or you're deepening your relationship if you're already in an existing partnership, or maybe you're just, you know, you're feeling the lightness. I think there's going to be an energy shift after this eclipse, which is quite heavy because of the Saturn opposition. I think there's going to be an energy shift of lightness with the Libra equinox, and it may take us a few days to feel it. But the 22nd to the 24th is when we get some really nice aspects from the Libra sun to other planets. Harmonious. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Gemini. Ah, this is such a cool card. Oh, I love this card so much. The 5th house, inner child delight. Well, look who's on the cover. Look who's on the image of this card. A little girl dressed in gold. All of the gold. There's so much richness in this card, abundance in this card, time. It says, schedule a sacred date with yourself. You deserve time for your life. This reminds me of one of the exercises in my book, The Magic of Saying Yes. I call it Take Yourself on a Soul Date. And I'm not going to go into all the details of it because I have some sort of guidelines for what that soul date is. But taking yourself on a date and setting aside sacred time for you could give you the clarity, the inspiration, the reconnection with your higher self that you need right now. Also, what's being called to my attention is that word time, and you see the workings of time, and Saturn is opposing the solar eclipse, and Saturn is Chronos. Saturn represents timing. So this could also be saying it's time. It is time to embrace what your heart most wants. In the background, you see a full moon, which could also be a lunar eclipse. We had the lunar eclipse because it's that orangey color. We had the lunar eclipse September 7th. So you could have, since the beginning of September or around that eclipse time, be ready to go on a new adventure, to up-level your self-care, your self-love. Look at her sweet dress with the big gold bow. She's being well taken care of, to take care of your inner child. Beautiful Gemini, if anything that I shared resonates for you and you want to comment, I love receiving your comments. I love hearing from you. I would love to hear. Taurus, you are experiencing the Virgo solar eclipse in your 5th house of love, romance, children, parenting, and creative expression, your free, unbridled creative expression projects, your inner muse, inner child delight. And I love that this eclipse trines your energy, Taurus. So that's really beautiful. Now, this is an ending, it's a new beginning, and any of the themes that I just mentioned you may experience during this eclipse. It is quite a potent eclipse. Saturn is opposing it. But also for you, Taurus, Saturn harmonizes, it sextiles your energy. So you may not feel it as intensely. It will really matter. It will really depend on how all the other planets and points in your chart are being activated, if they are being activated in your unique astrology chart, which is something that I analyze and illuminate for you in astrology consultations. So, but think of the solar eclipse, and I have a separate video for you on it that I did before this one. This is an update. I really wanted to give you guys, that I did in part one of this video, some extra TLC and help if you needed more support around it. Think of this as the very ending, the last wave of emotional release and ways of thinking that are not in alignment with who we truly are now as we have evolved. As they are, that is opening space for a new beginning, a fresh, clean slate. So for you, it could be creative. For you, it could be that you want to have a child or have to do with your connections with children, or have to do with love and romance, maybe calling in a new lover, deepening your relationship with somebody that you love, with a child, and so forth. Taurus, you are going to experience the Libra Equinox, which is a new beginning in your 6th house. And this is, the equinox is a change of a season, and we feel the change of seasons inside of us as well, metaphorically, not just physically, right? A change of season, you're getting a new season change in your 6th house of daily routines, everything that you do on a daily basis, your lifestyle, your work environment, your relationships with coworkers, your health and wellness on all levels, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. So this is because it's a health house, and because it's tied to our pets as well. You could be experiencing, you could have a vision for something new having to do with your health, Libra, or a new work environment, or a new job, or leaving a job. Nutrition, exercise, working out, anything that you want to do to up level your health could come up for you during this equinox, which is so beautifully supported. I really love it. Some of you may want to get a new pet. Some of you are just ready to change up a routine. Maybe you're letting go of a habit, or you want to start a new habit. Very, very supported during this amplified equinox, which I talk about in part 1 of this video. Okay, so let's pull a card for you now, Taurus, and see what the cards have to say. And you could meet somebody at work, or have already met someone at work, and that could become a deeper relationship. And that could be a friend. It doesn't have to be romantic, but wonderful things can happen with people that we spend a lot of time with in our daily life around this equinox time as well. Think outside the box. That's what the sun trining Uranus is saying. Okay, Taurus. Wait. What are you thinking about or trying to decide that is there something you're confused about? Is there something that you have resistance about? If so, this card says wait. It says honor your resistance. Sometimes no action is the best action of all. She's in reflection. The solar eclipse is a dark moon. You don't have to rush. Uranus in Gemini could make you feel like you have to, that could give you a sense of urgency, emergency. But Saturn is purposely trying to slow things down. And Taurus, one of your superpowers is tuning into your gut to know whether you really do have to make a decision, or you really do have to take action on something now. This is saying you don't, but tune into your own gut feeling. That always gives you the answer, beautiful Taurus. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries. You are going to experience, or are experiencing, the solar eclipse in Virgo in your 6th house. This house is Virgo energy. It's daily habits. It's your health routines, your workouts, how you eat, wellness on all levels. And the 6th house is often where we become aware. Do we feel optimally healthy? Is our vitality and energy the way we want it to be? Are we using our energy in in ways that feel good to us. We become aware sometimes that a work situation may not be healthy, may be toxic, as we say, but something could become very clear for you during this eclipse. Or maybe it became very clear for you during the lunar eclipse in Pisces that we had 2 weeks before this one. You could feel like you're finally resolving something to do with your health on any level. Some of you may want to change a routine, a habit, or leave a work situation. This eclipse is an ending and a new beginning at the same time. So whatever you're releasing or ending or purging, you're opening and creating new space for the new beginning. You may want a whole new lifestyle, Aries. Now the Libra Equinox is happening for you in your 7th house of partnerships. So it's a brand new beginning in committed relationships. And that's significant, right? It's significant. It's especially significant because it's this particular equinox is amplified by the magic triangle of planets, outer planets that I speak about in part 1 of this video. If that interests you, you can go back and check that out. But we're getting a lot of support from the outer planets for this particular Libra equinox. And it could be saying, do you want to rise to the occasion, Aries, and take on a new expression of leadership in some way? Because that's part of the energy signature, planetary signature of this Libra equinox with the outer planets. It doesn't have to be the stereotypical way that we think of leadership. It can be just you expressing another aspect of your soul essence. It could be you taking on something, a new form of something, and that could show up as new business partnerships, as a change in your existing partnership, whether romantic or professional, new friends joining you. Overall, it's a sense of somebody, at least one person or multiple people having your back, getting support. And that's a great thing to be setting intentions for you, especially Aries. So let's pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. I love that. It feels to me like there's a whole new identity that's getting birthed for you. And that will likely change up your routine in some way or change up your work in some way. As I look at these two events going on almost at the same time, within 22 hours of each other. Okay, Aries, your card. Aries. Friendship. Call a friend. You don't have to do this by yourself. I love this because Libra is I've got your back, you've got my back. That's Libra energy, and that's where the equinox, new beginning, higher consciousness, new vibration, where we're meant to move through into that new energy. It's a portal. And this says, when you are mirrored with love, you see yourself clearly. So beautiful, Aries. If you want to claim that you are mirrored with love, claim that you have support, claim that you have friendship, leave me a comment in the comments below. I would love to hear. Pisces. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces. You are one of the ones that are most likely already feeling this eclipse intensely. Leave me a comment, let me know. As I said in part 1 of this video, the Mercury-Saturn opposition before this eclipse even happened was pretty intense, and a lot of people felt that, especially if you have high degree Pisces energy. So, beautiful Pisces, you are going to experience, or are already experiencing, I should say, the solar eclipse in your house of committed partnerships, where you want to experience mutually loving reciprocal relationships, business, romantic, close friends, people that have your back. Because it's an opposition to your energy, you could feel some tension here, Pisces. You could definitely feel some tension. You could have gone through something with that lunar eclipse in your sign. You could have gone through something that had to do with your identity, a shift in identity. It could have had to do with your vitality or your physical health. A lot of Pisces people felt that very intensely, especially if you had have Pisces energy around the mid degrees, 15 degrees, where that lunar eclipse was. So you could feel that during the solar eclipse, your focus is a little bit more on support and who's in your life, and or a partner or a close friend or whoever has your back. You could feel that there's specific focus there. It could be you're releasing a relationship or a relationship dynamic or a relationship pattern, and or that you have a vision for a new way of being in relationship or new kinds of relationships that you'd like to experience. The Libra equinox, happening 22 hours after this eclipse, is happening for you in your 8th house of power and control, emotional attachments, sexual and emotional intimacy. This is also a money house, so it's shared resources, shared money with other people. It's our long-term assets, real estate, retirement funds, investments, and loans that we're paying off as well. It's the house of death and rebirth and transformation. So what is a Libra equinox saying for you? First of all, you need to have fairness. I mean, this is true for you overall, Pisces. You need to feel like if you are sharing energy with others, it has to be fair to you. It has to feel like, give and take. We all, it's not always equal, right? It's not that it has to always be tit for tat, that kind of thing, but that there's a sense of mutuality and reciprocity when it comes to sharing time, money, and resources with other people or in any intimate partnerships that you have. So, but I love that the Libra equinox is a new beginning. It's an opening. It's a new higher consciousness. That's what it's doing, is it's helping you to rise to the level of a new vibrational frequency in your relationships, especially committed ones, and anything having to do with your money. So Pisces, let me pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say. And this equinox is a great time to set an intention around these particular areas of your life, anything to do with transformation, anything to do with you leaving the chrysalis, the cocoon, and becoming the butterfly as well. A new lease on life, a rebirthing time for you. What a beautiful place to have a rebirth during an equinox, which is already a rebalancing and resetting kind of energy. Pisces. And you get pleasure. Yes. And I always think of this purplish lilac energy as you, Pisces. I love it. It says, do something just for fun. Pleasure is one of life's essential nutrients. Yes, yes, yes. Essential nutrient. And I love the magic in this card that she's holding this beautiful furry cat, and there's another cat there, and she, there's the bubbles, and there's just a magic about this card. There's a magic about this card, a playfulness, a childlike sense of give yourself the pleasure, the delight, the joy as one of life's essential nutrients. Pisces, you will be very glad you did. Aquarius, Aquarius, beautiful Aquarius. Beautiful Aquarius, you are experiencing this solar eclipse in Virgo, this potent eclipse in your 8th house of death and rebirth, transformation, power and control, emotional attachments, deep intimacy, emotional and sexual intimacy. It's a money house. It's your funds, for retirement investments. It's also, just the things that make us feel secure on a more long-term basis, like real estate, where we share money, time, and resources with other people. So it's a house that can bring up a lot of triggers. But Aquarius, what's happening for you here is you could be really doing a deep dive reflection time, a new moon, even if it's an eclipse, it is a time of reflection. You could be going over your assets. You could be going over, do I feel secure on a long-term basis? You could be tapping into your feelings around a particular intimate relationship. It's an ending and a new beginning. And an ending doesn't have to mean that you leave a relationship or that you sell an asset. An ending could be, I'm done avoiding intimacy maybe, or I'm done with this particular way of approaching my investments. Maybe I'm ready to let go of fear around money or fear around intimacy. You get the idea. All to make space for a new beginning, a new vision in this area. It will probably be quite a transformational eclipse for you if you have planets or points in the high degrees of the mutable signs. The Libra equinox, the new beginning that is happening, and this makes a lovely trine to your energy, Aquarius. The Libra, the sun moving into Libra right after the eclipse, is in your house of expansion, long distance travel, higher learning, teaching. I like to say teaching and preaching because this is the house, and this is just, I don't mean preaching with any religious connotation whatsoever, but it's where we have the enthusiasm of a preacher. It's where we want to share our philosophy, our beliefs, where we want to spread the good word, whatever that happens to be. I do not have a religious background, just so you know. It's more, but there is a certain, it can be an intense, let me tell you how I feel, intensely passionate house for a desire for sharing what is important to us. And that often does mean that we are, thinking about teaching a course, or we're doing a long distance travel adventure, moving to another country. We want new scenery, it could be podcasting, it could be publishing something. But it's definitely a house of passion. We're meant to expand here, and this is where the equinox is for you. So what a beautiful placement to have this new beginning equinox, this higher vibration, higher consciousness portal that, you set your intention to move into this higher energy, and this is what you're being supported to do, Libra. So let's see what the cards have to say for you. Libra. Goals. It says, set a goal, write it down, and release the outcome. Small steps make a big difference. Check it out. If this isn't a vision of expansion, I don't know what is. The 9th house Libra equinox. Here she is contemplating, reflecting. She's letting her mind go into the higher atmosphere. She's letting her mind contemplate being free, having an adventure. And she is contemplating what goal she wants to set. Small steps make a big difference. I love this so much. Set a goal, write it down, and release the outcome. Beautiful Aquarius. If anything that I shared, either in this card or look at this light orb down here, you are not alone. The light is with you. Your higher self is with you, formulating. Make sure that your goal is connected to your spirit and what your soul wants. So if you want to claim your expansion or anything else, beautiful Aquarius, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn, you get to have the solar eclipse in Virgo in your 9th house. It trines your energy. It's wonderfully harmonious, very supportive. And this eclipse is saying, Capricorn, how do you want to expand? What is lighting you up? Where is your passion calling you? Where do you feel a sense of purpose? The 9th house is where we can open up and see with new eyes. It's the house of new scenery, new vistas, long distance travel, sharing our philosophy, or learning about other people's philosophy. It's also astrology. Some of you may be studying astrology, or you want to, become a professional astrologer. Some of you are thinking about perhaps what you could teach, or what could you do a podcast on. So you could be releasing a belief that's no longer in alignment with you. You could be releasing a way that you always thought your life would be. It's a big signature of this eclipse. Something is ending, something is leaving. But it's whatever you're releasing and letting go of, you're making space for something new. And it should be something that makes you feel very enthusiastic and passionate, because that is 9th house energy. And it could be travel for some of you, for sure. Or you're going on a spiritual quest. Maybe it's time to do a spiritual retreat, or a silent meditation retreat, or something that is going to open you up so that you can tap into a new essence of you, Capricorn. There's a new essence of you on a soul level that is waiting to be birthed if you haven't felt it already. And then the Libra equinox is happening in your 10th house of career. So you can see how these go together. They don't go together for everyone. Some of you are retired or semi-retired. But the 10th house is not just career, it's vocation. It's how we want to express our life purpose. It's how we want to spend our time, what brings us meaning, what brings us a sense of, this is how I want to be remembered. If you're in a career, you might want recognition, or you might feel like this is connected to your professional reputation. But if you're not, then this may be more about meaning, fulfillment, and passion for you. But the Libra Equinox is a brand new beginning, and it's a portal, and it's a great time to set an intention, and it's a higher vibration energy that's being supported by many of the outer planets. So it's not your usual equinox. I talk about that in the first part of this video. Capricorn, let's see what the cards have to say for you. There's so much change going on. I am so curious how other people are feeling it, because I'm definitely feeling it myself. And if you have Pisces or Virgo energy, especially at those higher degrees, or Capricorn, any planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees in your chart, you could really be feeling this right now. So let me once again shuffle and see what the cards have to say for you. And of course, we would want to look at, 0 to 2 degrees of your energy or other cardinal energy in your chart. Which house is that happening in? And that's something I can help you with in an astrology consultation. Capricorn. And most importantly, I help people move out of difficult situations, or how can you handle what's going on for you now? I help you to see and think with new eyes. I help you to go into a higher consciousness with it, and to remember the truth of who you really are, so you feel empowered. But the card that came up for you, beautiful Capricorn, is power. And check it out. This is all Uranus energy, this lightning. And Uranus really affected us, I believe, last week. You could be feeling it the week of the eclipse as well. The eclipse is on Sunday, so you could feel it after. We're getting a really nice trine from Uranus, the sun in Libra to Uranus, so that's really beautiful. But then Venus moved into Virgo, and that's squaring Uranus. So there's both, but over big picture, what's happening with Uranus and all this lightning is that you could feel a sense of urgency. And that, I think, is not helpful. When something's not urgent, we don't want to feel like, oh my God, I've got all this pressure. I have to hurry up and make a decision. I have to hurry up and schedule this or that or whatever. We don't want to feel that, right? We want to feel like we can move within the flow of life. So this says, own your power. Every storm brings a fresh new beginning. Yeah, so you could be going through a storm, but this is own your power in that storm. Accept what you can't change what you can, respond in a way that is in alignment with your higher self, align with your higher self first, and know that anything you're going through is a passing storm. All storms pass, and it's bringing a fresh new beginning, which is both this eclipse and the Libra Equinox. So beautiful Capricorn, if you want to claim your power, if you want to claim your new beginning, leave us a comment in the comments below. I would love to hear. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, beautiful Sag. This solar eclipse in Virgo is happening for you in your 10th house of career. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling this new beginning, possibly an ending and a new beginning at the same time? That's really the energy signature of this eclipse. It's not just career, it's legacy, it's your reputation professionally, it is retirement and semi-retirement, it is how you want to spend your one wild and precious life, as I love to quote Mary Oliver, vocation, passion, fulfillment, purpose, where you want to feel like you are in alignment with your higher energy, the part of you that does receive fulfillment from what you do. The thing is, Sag, that this eclipse makes a square to your energy, so you could feel like you really have to make a decision, or you could feel a sense of urgency with a square, or just, I'm taking action, I have to. That's great. That's very supportive to take action as long as it feels aligned. But because Uranus is also part of the energy mix of this eclipse, and also the equinox, you could feel a sense of urgency, and that is I think that's how Saturn, I talk about all these aspects in part 1 of this video, but that's how Saturn is helping us to slow things down. Because what often feels urgent is actually not urgent. We know when something is truly urgent. So, an ending, a new beginning in your house of career and fulfillment. And then the Libra Equinox is a new portal of energy that's taking you into a new beginning, and that's in your 11th house of fulfillment. Hopes, wishes, and dreams, long-term financial gains, supporters, allies, online tribe. Also, this could be online dating for some of you, where you are wanting to promote or brand something. It's the World card. It signifies a full circle completion or ending. And it's like, okay, that's done. What do you want now? And it's also social media platforms, friendships. So Sagittarius, the question for you here is, now what? Now what would you like? How can friends or other supporters, or a new thing, a new business, or something else you may want to start, a new message you want to share, what brings you fulfillment? How can this support you? What is there a new hope, wish, or dream that would bring you, that would light you up, that would make your heart sing? What would make your heart sing, Sag? Let's see what the cards have to say for you. That I encourage you to use as an intention, whatever would make your heart sing. And the cards say for you, they say, be patient. It says, be patient, be willing to pass up good for great. Yes. Yes. That ties in with what I was just saying about the Uranus energy making us feel this sense of urgency, but Saturn slowing things down. Saturn slowing things down during the eclipse is saying we want to be patient. So it's okay if you don't know yet. It's okay if you're not sure. Be willing to pass up good for great. Beautiful Sag, if anything I shared resonates and you want to share and leave a comment in the comments below. Thank you so much. I love hearing from you. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are experiencing the solar eclipse in Virgo in your 11th house. An ending and a new beginning, something leaving, something opening up space for you to create a new vision. In this house of fulfillment, hopes, wishes, and dreams, long-term financial gains. The 11th house is a lot of things, but what it's really saying, big picture, is what is your next dream? The world is your oyster. There's a new space that's been created for you. How do you want to fill that space? What would really bring you joy? That's really what this eclipse is highlighting for you. And it could have to do with a friendship. It could have to do with finances. It could have to do with branding or promoting something that you, especially if you're using social media in any way. It could be you wanting to get your message out into the world or share something that's important to you. You could feel like there's a source of support that is no longer in alignment with you anymore vibrationally, and there's a new source of support that is. You could be changing, who you socialize with, who you meet up with. You could be just starting to do something online, whether it's, a podcast or YouTube or online dating, any of those things. You are likely to get some sort of epiphany and awareness during this eclipse time, or maybe you already have, because as I shared in part 1 of this video, a lot of the eclipse action happened before the actual eclipse because of Mercury and Saturn opposing each other. You are going to experience the Libra Equinox in your 12th house. So this is where you could really get a new awareness, especially because Uranus in Gemini and the Sun in Libra will connect up and have a beautiful harmonious trine. And that trine could bring you, a dream that has a message for you. It could take you into, Uranus is that great awakener, Uranus, and this is the 12th house of awakening. So, not only that, but the Sun in Libra is going to make a trine to Pluto. The Sun in Libra is going to make a sextile to Neptune. Neptune's associated with the 12th house, you could have quite a beautiful, expansive Libra equinox that takes you into the other realms through astral travel, through lucid dreaming. This is the house of karmic relationships, past life experiences, deep shadow work and healing too. So all of that is very supported for you, or just a good long rest and feeling like you're taking some sort of retreat too, or traveling to some, this is the house of foreign lands as well. So you may decide you want to do some travel. You may decide you want to move to another place that you never thought you would live. That is considered, that's more exotic for you. Set your intention, Scorpio. Set your intention for what you want to experience. And if you want to have, if you want to up level your connection to the ethereal realms, this would be a good intention to set as well. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Scorpio, for your Libra equinox and this eclipse too. Playfulness. Yes. Look at the magic that's going on here. The 12th house is connected to magic too. It says, play with a child. Children are your greatest teachers. And look, here's this magician, the alchemist. There's an alchemy with 12th house energy. And then there's the inner child here. So when you play with children, you nurture your own inner child. It could be both of those things, or it could be that you are tapping into a connection with your own inner child as well. Whatever it is, do something fun for no reason at all. Do something playful, beautiful. Scorpio, you will be very glad you did. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, first of all, happy birthday. The sun is about to move into your sign. So very exciting. And this is not your usual Libra equinox. I talk about why in the first part of this video. But first, let's talk about for a moment your solar eclipse. Now, I have done a separate video for you already on the solar eclipse, but I wanted to do an update, and I go all into the reasons why in part one of this video. It has been a doozy of an eclipse. Wow, wow, wow. You may have felt that. And I'm tempted to say why, but I'm going to save that for you to go back and watch part one if you haven't already. The eclipse for you in your 12th house could have brought you, or will bring you, a real opening, a real eye-opening, a spiritual awakening, expansion of your energy, intense ethereal kind of experience through a dream, through an out-of-body experience. I know these things are fairly unusual for most of us, so I don't want to make it sound like this is what you should expect to have. But, a 12th house eclipse in Virgo too, could reveal to you a way of thinking that isn't supportive to you. It is the house of our subconscious. So it could have shown you where you had a limiting belief, or where you have a, it could be from a past life. It could be a past life experience, a loss that you experienced, something that you're not even aware of that somehow influences what you're attracting in this life, whether it has to do with your health, whether it has to do with your emotional well-being, or has to do with relationships, your spiritual identity. It could be anything, but it often affects our comfort level of being in this world, whether we feel like I'm at home in this world, because in the 12th house, we often don't feel at home. The 12th house isn't this earth. It is another realm. And, with an eclipse happening in the 12th house, you could be integrating that part of you that could feel homesick for, the heavenly realms. Or you could be integrating the different parts of yourself during this eclipse. Maybe parts that have felt in lack, maybe parts that have felt alone or not supported are being integrated so that you can feel more whole. You can feel more like you love being on earth. You love your earthly journey, and you're glad that, you chose to come down here as a spiritual being and be on this planet. Leave me a comment, Libra. I love talking about this stuff. It's the house of rest and retreat. It's the house of, with an eclipse here, do not be surprised if you have just wanted to hole up and be in your cozy space in your home and not leave for a while. But, that 12th house rest and retreat, as we call it, can prepare you for your season, which of course happens in your first house. The sun entering your house, your birthday season. And this is the first house of I like that song. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I've got to let it show. I mean, that's where you're getting your disco, disco vibes going. Libra. I haven't sung that in a long time. That was fun. So Libra, the equinox, which is not your usual equinox, and I say why in part 1 of the video. So much support from the several outer planets, the magic triangle, as I've been talking about in my videos for a while now. It's supercharged in a really positive way, very harmonious. You could feel it as a real boost. The 22nd, and even like the 22nd to the 24th, 25th, you could feel a boost in your energy. I hope that you do. And it's saying, what do you want to do? What do you want to express? You know, that's the first house, your expression, your identity, who are you, your roles in your, how you express in your personal life and your professional life, your appearance, your vitality. You could feel like your vitality is getting a little bit of a boost. You could feel like things are going your way, or you have a new intention. I really encourage, especially you, Libra, to your equinox, I really encourage you to set an intention for how you want to experience your birthday season and, the year going forward, your solar return. Yeah. So Libra, let's shuffle. Let me shuffle and see what the cards have to say for you. And of course, I'm going to do a separate video for all of you on your season and the astrology of October. But I really wanted to do an update on this eclipse because it's intense, and on the equinox. I thought that was perfect for this weekend. So let's see what the cards have to say for you, Libra. Libra. I love this. Your ruling planet, Venus. Love, 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 love. It says, choose love. Let your love become a powerful force for change. Wow. Libra, you are a blessing to the planet. You can be and already are, just by exuding love, a powerful force for change. There is the North Star that this beautiful angel is reaching out for. To me, this card is saying, imagine that you are sitting on a star and become that star, merge with that star, merge with that light, so that you can reconnect if you need to reconnect, so that you can merge your energy with the highest octave of unconditional love and experience the bliss of that. If you want to claim that you are love, that you are choosing love, or anything else, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Beautiful friend, thank you for joining me for this Virgo solar eclipse update and the Libra equinox. Thank you for liking this video, for giving it a thumbs up, for commenting, for subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for your subscribes. Thank you so much for any way in which you support the channel. For those of you who donate, it completely makes my day. Regardless of the amount, it makes a huge difference to my heart and to knowing that I'm not in this by myself. Most important, I am so glad that you are part of our soul family. If you would like to do an astrology consultation with me or a clarity coaching session, go to my website. There are testimonials on both my coaching and my astrology pages that give you a sense of how other clients have experienced their sessions with me. I hope they inspire you. It's always my joy to connect with you and share the gifts and talents and highlights, along with the challenges that your astrology chart, the blueprint of your soul, illuminate. And I love helping you move through any times of challenge, as well as sharing the more supportive transits with you as well. So we will look at both your chart as well as the transits that are going on in any areas of life that are most up for you right now. It is always my joy to meet you on Zoom and to be of support to you. Would you like to receive my free gift? It is a guided meditation meant to soothe you, meant to reconnect you to your divine, unconditionally loving source, meant to connect you with guidance on any question that you have on your heart right now. If you'd like to receive that guided meditation, it's an instant download, go to my website, sign up for free to get my weekly inspirational astrology updates, and you'll get your free gift at the same time. Let me know your thoughts about this solar eclipse in Virgo, any experiences that you've already had. I'm sure a lot of you have already felt it intensely. I love hearing your thoughts. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.